Are we live? Is it time for the cold open, John?
Yes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DLLS. I have no way to know when it's live. Welcome to the DLLS Cowboys podcast. We got some big injury news for your Cowboys, plus post-combine. What do we think about the Cowboys' chances and what they're going to do in this draft? Let's start it. Meow. What's up, friends? Welcome in, everybody, to the DLLS Cowboys podcast. It's good to be with you guys today. Our team is 2 for 2 at coming back from out of town and somebody being sick, as your boy woke up with a 101 this morning. That's me. We're sickly, boy. We gotta adopt the Jesse mindset. Start using our wipes. We're gonna start wiping things. But I am excited to do a remote broadcast because it means I can hit buttons and we can ask the question, is it the hot dog or is it the bun?
Now this is a hot dog bun.
I think it's a hot dog, too.
Did that work? You heard it? Okay, good. All right, welcome in, everybody. We got some big Cowboys news that kind of just broke, except that it didn't really just break, although I don't know if we're allowed to talk about when it broke. Clarence has known about this thing for a while. He just wasn't allowed to talk about it yet. But yes, my name is Jeff. Next to former Cowboys wide receiver, he's over there. Nope, over there. Jesse Holly.
There's a lot of black people who want to be Hogwarts.
That's true. And next to him is the greatest beat writer in the history of the Dallas Cowboys, Mr. Clarence Hill.
I really don't do older women. I don't do young women.
Devery said, take your vitamins, Jeff. Here's the thing. Getting my knee replaced in 9 days. Starting 10 days before surgery, I'm not allowed to take vitamins anymore. I'm not allowed to take supplements anymore. I just had to fight this thing with straight up Tylenol. It's all I'm allowed to take. That's the rules before they take your knee out. And I didn't know that. What's the news of the day, ladies and gentlemen? Donovan Ezeiruaku, we got problems. We got trouble. We got problems. Trouble. Problems. We got trouble. That was a setup to the beat writer. Okay. Donovan Ezeiruaku had hip surgery this offseason. Probably won't be ready to do things until training camp. Reported by every Cowboys reporter within 10 minutes of one another. But Clarence was first because everybody had known this for a hot second. What are we going to do now? Our pets' heads are falling off. That's the only pass rusher on the whole dang team.
Yeah, you missed your chance. He tossed it up to you. I like that. You missed your chance. He tossed it up to you and you didn't take it. Sit back and let number 2 go here. I mean, this is concerning to me because you talk about, Donovan Ezeiruaku is your only, as we sit today, is your only pass rusher that you have on this team that is worth mentioning. Secondly, we start talking about parts of the body that you need for a pass rusher. I was listening to Bobby Belt this morning. He talked about one of the terms that scouts use for defensive ends and linemen and stuff like that is oily hips, right? You want those hips to be oily. You want to have that bend. You want to have that fluidity in your movement. And so having this hip situation, Clarence is probably the close. Well, you know what, Jeff, you're probably the closest one that'll need a hip replacement before anyone else with the way that your body's working. And I don't know how this works. Is it like the knee when you get the ACL? Does it take a full calendar year before you get back to that position where you're able to sprint, jump, run, turn, take on blocks, power, transitioning from speed to power, power to speed? So I don't even know if this is a process that won't allow him to be ready until training camp. And again, Christian Parker coming in, new system, would like to have all hands on deck as they're trying to learn this new system. And he's going to be out until training camp. And that's barring any setbacks that can possibly come up or anything like that. So this is very concerning for the Cowboys defense. Not the way that you want to start this offseason and this free agency with your known pass rusher on this team out with a hip surgery until training camp.
Hold on, Clarence. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. 1 to 2 to 1. I tried to go to 3. 3 passed. Went to 2. Came back to 1. I know. I just got to talk to the chat real quick because multiple people have pointed out that the doo-doo queen did say the words "let number 2 go," and that is Jesse's nickname is the doo-doo queen. Although John is technically the doo-doo king, our producer. We'll tell that story later. And then somebody else said, Jesse, the ladies in Indy said you're the closest to a hip replacement. They did say
exactly age. That's why I was okay. Age before beauty. Age. Jesse, you're the oldest one in the group. You look the oldest, according to the ladies in Indy. Age before beauty.
Let's according to a lady, not lady, a blind glaucoma-led lady.
Wasn't blind. A lady from LA, California. She knows some California sunshine. She's Asian. She was not high. She just missed the wrong bar, but that's okay. Everything you said was correct. A correct point of view, correct thinking. And I'm not putting my botched arms out there. I'm just saying that everything you said, the perspective is understandable. He's out until a training camp because the Cowboys being cautious. According to them, and we can only go according to them, that he's going to be fine. And it's not a concern about him being ready. And they're holding him out of the training camp because it's the offseason. We can hold you out, and we're going to make sure, when it's time to get on the grass, it's going to be on the grass when it's something important. So we don't have to do this stuff in the OTAs and mini camp and all this other stuff. But for a team, again, it's acute on the defensive line. The fire is burning on the defensive line. The fire is burning for edge rusher, and your only edge rusher now has to deal with something. That's not, as you said, that's not how you want to head into the offseason. That is not what you want. This is ideal how you want to come in with Christian Parker's new defense. He's going to move from basically defense end to linebacker, obviously outside linebacker role. He's your pass rush guy. And you're already looking for defensive ends, edge rushers, those type outside linebackers in the draft, so much so that you're moving Maris Laufo to outside linebacker because that's probably the only position he can play in this scheme. So it's a huge issue. It is a concern. It is a concern, but the idea that, that him out to a training camp, that's more on being precautious than the surgery taking that long to recover from.
So I'm looking at this news as not good news. This is bad news.
No.
And it is the only guy on the roster that is playing pass rush. I know they say Maris Leofau is an outside linebacker now, and that's fine. But, I mean, anybody can feel free in the chat or whatever to disagree with me. If Maris Leofau is a starting outside linebacker, I don't think that you're in a good spot there. Does it make you guys hop into my camp a little bit? Like, we just got back from the combine. We've gotten a look at a lot of these guys that could be drafted by the Cowboys in the first round, to where my eyeballs, if we're trying to get a pass rush that's going to be effective for the football team this year, we're mostly just going to count on the interior guys who are already here. But if we are looking for a pass rusher that's going to line up opposite one-hipped Ezeiruaku, is it not more likely that he's in the trade market or free agency than at the 12th or 20th overall pick? We're not going to fix our pass rush if the best pass rushers on our team are Donovan Ezeiruaku and Keldrick Falk or Cassius Howell. These free agents that John's got up on the screen here, or the Max Crosby dream may be alive. Isn't it more likely to you guys, or I shouldn't say isn't it, that's leading the witness. Is it more likely to you that the Cowboys pass rush fix is in free agency or a trade?
I believe so. I think that would be the smart move. I mean, because we're talking about now, again, preparing ourselves to go into a season and give ourselves the opportunity in this season to have a known commodity. Instead of having someone like whoever will be the 12th pick, there isn't the standout no doubt can't miss pass rusher, in my opinion, in this draft. There isn't a Myles Garrett in this draft, a Micah Parsons type player in this draft. There's really good players in this draft, and that will have good careers in the NFL. But there aren't a plethora of just these guys are absolutely can't miss prospects. They're day one, ready to go, 10-year NFL starters. So if you're trying to take this defense and get it out of the mud where it has resided, and I'm talking about in pig poop mud, it would behoove you, and it would be in your best interest to go out and get someone who's a known commodity, someone that one could learn your system quickly, understands the NFL game, understands the NFL concept, may have a little bit of, and I'm not leading towards like a guy like Jaelan Philips, but a guy like Jaelan Philips was in this defense a year ago. He may not have the greatest learning curve to learn this defense, right? He's closer to knowing it all, knowing what to do. But you want to get those veteran guys in there and then sprinkle those rookies in there and allow them to develop and not put the weight of the world on their shoulders in week one of the season, because this defense, all eyes will be on this defense. When we get to training camp, every single cornea will be on what does this defense look like? How has Christian Parker revamped this defense? And is this defense going to match up anywhere near close to what this offense is, and how it can help this offense and help this team get out of the mud and get back to contending with the schedule that the Cowboys have on their hands this upcoming season?
Let's just go old school. Both of them. Both of them, Jesse. Both of them.
Both of them.
Okay? Both of them. They will, and we said it before, they need two. At least two, right? I think they need to, certainly I think the most immediate help is going to come through the draft. The urgent help is coming through the draft or via trade, whether that Max Crosby thing is alive or not, depends on if Jerry is really moving different. But they will still have to address it in the draft. No matter what they're doing for agency, you need to go on and get one. So it's going to be both of them. It's going to be both. You're going to do both, but the most immediate help for this team, and this is, to me, when we talked about it, and Jerry talked about it, everybody talked about it, this ain't about 3 years from now. This is about this year. You can win this year. You can turn this thing around this year if you help your defense. So, it's about, you have to do something for agency. I mean, Dan Orlovsky, our buddies on ESPN, is one to talk about the Cowboys are three difference-making defensive players away from being a contender.
Okay, well, three
not just adding guys, not difference-making, right? Not the canines of the world, not just guys that check the box. We're talking about difference-making defensive players, edge, linebacker, defensive back.
If you need three difference-making defensive players, am I wrong to say that that's saying you need your second, third, and fourth best defensive player? Is there more than one on this team? It's just Quinnen, right?
It's Quinnen. Just Quinnen.
Right, because we don't really know what Overshown is. We still don't know what Overshown is. And you're hoping against hope that Bland is what he was a couple of years ago when he was an all-pro, Pro Bowl type guy. But, you're really talking about maybe your second, third, and fourth best players, for sure.
For sure.
Well, that's tough. I mean, that is that's a lot of monies that are going to have to be spent on this defense from Jared Jones. So we're going to need him to be meaning it when he's busting the budget. We had to bust it all the way. You got to bust.
Not a little. Bust it wide open. Bust it wide open. Let's say that need to be a hand. Bust it wide open.
Yeah, that's what we're going to have to do. Because even the idea.
It could be a T-shirt, Jared Jones with grinning, busted wide open.
I would absolutely, positively buy a Jerry Jones busted wide open T-shirt.
My God.
I would buy
Ben, put it on a T-shirt.
I would buy a hoodie. I would buy a hat. I would buy a beanie. I would buy some sweatpants that were Jerry Jones busted wide opens. All right, coming up next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast, we did just get back from the Combine. Has anything changed in terms of what the Cowboys are looking at based on what we just saw? Let's get into all that stuff next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast. Let's take a moment, my friends, and talk about our guys over there at Wild Fork Foods, the meat and seafood market of your dreams. I'm begging you one time, don't go to the grocery store for your meat. Swing by and see our friends at Wild Fork. They're absolutely incredible. Over 700 items, including 400 at under $10 a pound. Brisket, amazing. So many different versions of steak. You want poultry, seafood, pork, ostrich, rabbit, gator. They got everything at Wild Fork Foods. And you can also get complete meals there. And their butchers are incredibly knowledgeable. They can help you. You want to pick out an item, but you don't know what to do with it. You don't know how to prepare that bad boy. Guess what? They'll walk you through it. They'll tell you. It's incredible. Wild Fork Foods is my favorite store on planet Earth. You can get the whole meal there because they have awesome side dishes too. Mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, asparagus, green beans, all sorts of things. They got 9 different locations. Frozen is fresher at Wild Fork Foods Meat and Seafood Market. Get on over there. They're organic, grass-fed ground beef, 85% lean, $6 a pound, about the best you're going to see. Try them out at one of their 9 locations. Learn more, wildforkfoods.com. And Air DNA, what would you say to some free food and drinks at Community Beer Company tomorrow? Air DNA is putting on a World Cup road show where what they're going to do is help you find out how much money you can make renting out your home on Airbnb for the World Cup, and they'll have experts to help you understand how to actually get it done. They're the big player in the short-term rental data game, and they want to invite all of our DLLS homeowners to come on out, have a good time. Again, this is tomorrow. It's totally free. Tomorrow, 6 p.m., you can RSVP at airdna.co/Dallas Roadshow and go hang out at Community Beer Company, get you some free food and drinks, and find out some information about how you can make some monies with your home. airdna.co/Dallas Roadshow. You also find a link in there to their World Cup calculator where you can type in your address, see how much they estimate you can make in seconds. RSVP for the AirDNA World Cup Roadshow, airdna.co/Dallas Roadshow, link in the description. All right, it's the DLLS Cowboys podcast. We just got back from the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, where one of the dive bars that we went to obviously gave me a bug. Probably the last one. Probably the last one, if we're being honest. Did some shady stuff while we were in Indianapolis.
Are we talking about conversations at the dive bar? Is that what we're doing? I'm just kidding. I was just checking. I know.
I do remember a conversation at the dive bar. I do remember one of them. And I want to ask this to the chat. Anything that happened at the NFL Scouting Combine change your mind on who you think may not be available to the Cowboys, who you would like to see on the Cowboys, things of that nature I would like to see from folks in the chat? Because my pipe dream, which I didn't know was a pipe dream a month or two ago, I thought I knew who I wanted the Cowboys to pick at 12. He's going to be available. We're talking about an off-the-ball linebacker. I'm sitting pretty with this one. And then the world's kind of caught up on it. And then he went out in the combine, which, again, Jeff, rule number 736 of the combine, don't count it twice, knew he was a great athlete. But Sonny Styles might have had the greatest combine in the history of the linebacker position, showing off the speed, the lower body explosion, measuring in as a monster. So I think we probably lost my little Fred, I think. And maybe he was already gone. Maybe nothing's changed. But I think we lost my little Fred and Sonny Styles. And that just hurts my heart a little bit. That's all. I just want to get it out there. It makes me sad.
Do you feel good about yourself? Because you were trying to convince me about almost 2 months ago. Like, you come in there like, Jess, I'm telling you, I'm watching this guy, and he reminds me of Fred. And I was in there like, stop, man, don't do that. And I was in there like talking to you crazy, like, don't do that. And then you see him perform, you're like, okay. Does that make you feel good that you were on him first? I'm going to give you total credit. You were on Sonny Styles early.
Yeah, I guess in a way, because like I remember there's advantages and disadvantages to how I do the draft stuff. Like I'll usually start in like December or something like that. And so the guys who do it year round have a reference point from the year before and what they think about the players. And so to get to the final thing that they think about the players requires getting to where I'm just starting. Like I didn't know anything about Sonny Styles pre this football season. So when I'm hearing other people talking about CJ Allen or Sonny Styles or Anthony Hill, and I watched them all and I'm like, what are they talking about? Sonny Styles is the dude. And I guess just not having the reference point of whatever he was a year ago kind of helps me in that way. because I don't know that coming into this season, we think X. I'm just watching them play, and Sonny Styles was a monster. But I thought they would have a shot. But now that he's confirmed full-on freak show with awesome tape in this draft class, I'm pretty confident he's going to be on Dan Quinn's team and not ours.
It's really interesting because I like your don't count it twice. Don't count it twice. And that sounds good in theory because you're a scientist and you see the tape. But damn, when you see it in live, you're excited too, right? I know.
Yeah.
We knew he was fast. So what? No. We saw he was fast. Okay. When you see him do it, it's different. That's what's so exciting. That's why the casual guys get into it. It's he's fast, but seeing is believing, and just seeing it. And that's why we're frustrated when guys don't work out, because then you get to match them and see them on equal footing and equal terms and not back at the school. And Ohio State has a track, at least what I was told, that's actually downhill, and so they're running downhill, so the times are faster on campus than they are here, which is why it's crazy that Adam Schefter was carrying the water to agent, because one of the top receivers in the draft, which we see on tape, we know he can play, but he kind of slow. It was by slow standards because he ran a 4.5. And they had him hand timed at a 4.4. Don't do that hand time stuff. Laser. We all got everybody got laser here, right? But yeah, seeing is believing. So yeah, we knew guys were fast, but when you see a freak athlete, we're gonna acknowledge the freak athlete. That's a bad boy.
And the thing that you're referencing is Carnell Tate. Carnell Tate ran like a 4.54. He's the Ohio State wide receiver. He might be the first wide receiver drafted. And then Adam Schefter tweeted out, NFL teams tell me that many got him at and wanted to give him a better time, which I'm just going to reiterate to people, watch your local stuff. Because what Adam Schefter did is an agent texted him and said, put out this message for me. And Adam said, you got it, sir. Like, everybody ran on the same timer. Carnell Tate runs a 4.5, and that's fine. Like 4.5.
Yeah, CD runs a 4.5. Puka runs a 4.5.
It's Jackson Smith and Jigba runs a 4.5. It's totally fine.
We sometimes get mystified by the 4.3s and the 4.26s and the 4.28s. 4.5 can run away from people. 4.5 run away from people all the time. Like, I don't know why that, like, this 4.5 thing is such a faux pas when it comes to a lot of times, with the receivers. We want everybody to run 4.3. We want everybody to run 4.28. That's unrealistic. Most of the guys in the NFL are 4.5 guys. Okay, most of your top level guys who you love and you see are 4.5 guys. When you get those pads on, you get those in the helmet on, you get in that game. Carnell Tate at 4.5 won't have a problem separating and running away from people in the National Football League.
I'm going to double check it, but I'm pretty sure CeeDee Lamb is a 4.5 guy. George Pickens is a 4.47 guy. Like it's CeeDee Lamb's a 4.50 guy. Like it's plenty fast. And you guys want to play a really fun game? I saw it the other day and I didn't know I was going to reference it. Otherwise I'd have told John for a graphic. The 40 fastest receivers in the history of the NFL Combine, 40 of them. How many do you think had a 1,000-yard season in the NFL?
4.
5.
Was it Calvin Johnson?
Santana Moss.
Haywood.
Oh, Santana Moss.
Santana Moss. Calvin Johnson's 4.35 doesn't even hit the list. He doesn't even hit the top 40. Like, we're looking for football players. Like, yes, if a guy
Santana Moss got all his yards against the Cowboys.
Yeah, he did. But
whenever Santana played the Cowboys, it was a show.
Most great NFL players are really good athletes. The very, very, very fastest does not mean you're a better football player than the guys who are just really fast. Like, it's fine. We're looking for the best football players. And Randy Moss must not have run at the Combine, because otherwise he would absolutely be on that list, because I can't imagine that he didn't run a 4.2 also. But yeah, I mean, we're looking for football players, and as long as there's nothing that happened at the Combine that disqualified you, like if he had run a 4.75, sure. A lot of teams would be like, ee. But a 4.5 is what NFL receivers run. Yeah. That's fine. A 4.3 receiver is flying. A 4.2 receiver is insane. and Xavier Worthy can run as fast as he wants. It don't make him better than CeeDee Lamb. We're looking for football players. GM Ben said Clarence looks like he could run a 4.4, and I could see that. Clarence, in your day, was it a 4.4? Were you a 4.4 guy?
Hand time.
Whose hand time?
My high school coach.
Hand time. Sundial hand time.
Hand time. I hit, hand time. We all did that. And that's why somebody put out all these kids coming to high school who ran fast, and then you get to the combine, they're running 4.5 because it's mostly hand time. And everybody thinks they're a 4.4 guy in high school, and they're not. And they're truly, it's truly special when 4.4 and under. And I'm glad you brought Xavier Worthy up because I'm a Xavier Worthy fan with the Texans, but he can't run. He's a straight line runner. But if you hand the ball, he has no wiggle. It's different. There are a lot of guys who are straight line fast, but can't make nobody miss.
Yeah,
and so we're talking about football players, not just track guys.
Yeah, Jesse, you want to give us a tutorial real quick on what matters for an NFL wide receiver? Like, there's a baseline that it's hard to get by if you're slow. If you're slow and small, it gets even harder. But if you have baseline speed, playing wide receiver in the NFL is not about getting faster.
No, one, can you get off the line of scrimmage? Two, can you get out of the break at the top of your route and separate? That's what a lot of it comes down to. Where are you at the line of scrimmage? Because if you get jammed up, I don't give a damn if you run a 4.1, a 4.2, a 4.3, 4.4, 4.5. If you get jammed up, you're running a 4.0. Okay, the ball ain't coming to you. And then at the time, then the second thing is at the top of the route, are you getting the separation that you need at the top of your route? Are you able to break away from defenders? And sometimes you have these fast guys who can't run routes, who doesn't understand the control that it takes to run routes. I talk about this from guys in the slot. Just because you fast, you might run through a zone and you ain't supposed to run through the zone. Sometimes you got to slow down, tamper down. So speed is, yes, it's king and everybody wants to have it. It is a luxury to have it. And if you have it, God bless you, you have an advantage. But if you don't have the necessary other skills that help you kind of work through what being a true wide receiver is, then you become one-dimensional, you become a one-trick pony, and eventually you find yourself not being on very many teams or being bounced around the league a lot and not having a promising or a solid situation on the team.
And that's, I think, just what you have to guard against right after the combine. Right after the combine, you'll get a lot of people that want to move people way up and way down, and that's not how it really works. What you're going to be basing when guys are going to get picked on, or when they're going to get picked in the draft, it's based on watching them play football. Like, yes, there are things that can happen at the combine that can cause teams to go, uh-oh. And there are things that can cause teams to go, ooh, that's good.
Okay, Jeff. Who helped their stock and who lost stock based on the combine? Because that's real. That happens. Some people improve their stock, improve their draft position by their performance at the combine.
Sure, like guys who confirm to you that they are incredible athletes and you think it on tape, but then you show it to me. Jacob Rodriguez, Texas Tech linebacker. He helped himself at the combine. There were questions going through the season about Jacob Rodriguez where it's like, well, he plays behind a great defensive line. How big is he? How fast is he? Is he a product of what they're doing? Because sure, he's forcing turnovers and he has a bunch of tackles and all that, but there were questions about Jacob Rodriguez, and now he's checked every single box. Dillon Thieneman, the safety out of Oregon, he was already considered probably a top 3 safety in the class. He rubber stamped it. Yes, he's an elite athlete with really good tape, because if you get guys that after you've watched them play 5, 6, 12, 20, however many college football games you watch when you're scouting a guy, after you've watched them all and you've put them in the order you think you've got them in, if one of them tests like Dillon Thieneman and somebody else built like him runs a 4.6 and isn't the same sort of athlete, it can be a differentiator. It can be a tiebreaker for sure.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest here, guys. Dillon Thieneman, white boy can run. Right? We want to know, if you're going to play a skill position, and you're going to have to chase them brothers, them Xavier Worthies, and be out there with them CeeDee Lambs, and you're of the Caucasian complexion, we want to know if you can run. We want to know if you can be out there. That
Well, and
matters. That
Those of,
matters.
us, those of us that have watched him knew he could run.
Yeah.
Like, I probably wouldn't have guessed 4.3.
Did you know 4.3 though?
Right. But and when you stamp it that way, you go, oh.
Yeah.
He
The
can-
brothers recognize that. The brothers go, oh, okay. Okay. We see you, Dylan. We see you, brother. Well, okay. All right. We'll see you out there on Sunday.
Yeah. And then there's a couple guys we still need to talk about, and we'll do free agency in this show too. We'll get all set up for Cowboys free agency. We do have rumors about guys that the Cowboys may be in on. We'll bounce around those things. And then the new guys that I think are favorites to be Dallas Cowboys after the combine. We'll do all these things next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast. All right, you want to get access to Fran Duffy's draft guide. That's something that you need in your life. If you are an NFL draft fan, well, being a diehard right now is incredibly important. It's a great value. And you get access to something that is absolutely awesome. Fran puts in the work year round, and he's got currently over 170 in-depth scouting profiles, all compiled after watching the film, talking to coaches and evaluators, being at the Shrine Bowl, the Senior Bowl, the Combine, all those different things. You get access to that draft guide when you're signed up to be a diehard. And I think it's super fun because I love the draft and I love seeing other people's opinions on the draft. And I think most people probably don't have access to all of the tape to get informed opinions on these players. You can see what you can see. You know, you can get on YouTube and find some games. You can find some highlights and all that and at least get a little bit of a feel for a player. But Fran does this year round. He's talking to people. He's watching the tape. And you get access to all of that stuff when you sign up to be a diehard. You can sort it by positions. You can get incredibly in-depth scouting reports where you're going to know background, stars out of high school, what coaches have said about this player, who does he compare to, what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, all those different things for so many players in the draft guide that Fran Duffy does for you every year. So now's a good time to make sure you're signed up to be a diehard at alldlls.com. We got the QR code on your screen. And then you'll be all squared away on draft day and make a pick that Fran didn't like. You cuss out the team. That's what I like to do. You make a pick that Fran did like. You say, boy, my Hall of Fame GM is on it. So that's what I'm telling you. It's a good time to get signed up to be a diehard or else, which of course is not a threat. It's the DLS Cowboys podcast. Two names that I do think are relevant for the Cowboys and that I think I'm hopeful for. I'll go back to this over and over and over. This is a wonky draft. I don't want to say bad because it's not a bad draft. I think it's kind of bad at the top. It's kind of bad in terms of having the guys at premium positions that you feel great about picking in the top 10, in the top 15. I did a mock draft the other night, which is on our DLLS YouTube page and my little tiny personal YouTube page. And I call myself Captain Trade Down. I love trading down in drafts. I think there's good value there. And so I traded down in our first little mock draft. It was a disaster. It was a terrible mistake. I just had to do a new draft and redo it and take Masoor Delane when he was available at 12 and say, nope, we're not going to screw this up. I think the Cowboys pick at 12 is going to be weird. And trying to narrow it down to names, I think is really hard because you're trying to find a name that you feel great about. And so Masoor Delane at LSU, he's my number one corner for now. You wish he was an inch taller with arms that were an inch longer. You wish he was a tenth of a second faster in the 40, but he's a ball player. And he had the best tape in college football last season. He's a ball player. But if somebody takes the first corner off the board before 12, now we're getting ourselves into a weird spot. Now if I'm taking a corner, if it's up to me, the next two corners are Avion Terrell. And now we're getting even smaller. And we're talking at 12th overall. And I love the player. But you're talking about even smaller. And is that the sort of nickel that the Cowboys want? I don't know. and I don't think we have a graphic made for Jermod McCoy, but he's the name that I'm seeing to the Cowboys the most often now. And that's a guy coming off an ACL who we're 14 months into this thing and he hadn't worked out yet. So you're scared of that. Let's do pass rusher at 12. If the Cowboys need pass rushers, and they do, could the combine let Rueben Bain fall to the Dallas Cowboys? Those would be the shortest arms to ever be drafted in the top 100. Not in the first round, in the top 100. He's got top 3 tape in this class. Can those arms get enough teams to be like, well, you know, we have certain thresholds that we believe that defensive ends are supposed to meet, and he's a big-time outlier, and so we're going to go a different direction. Could that happen? And if it does, are you happy with Rueben Bain being a Cowboy? And I'm going to stop going through names now because I think that that is a really interesting question. If Rueben Bain is available at 12, because other NFL teams go, David Bailey's got the measurables, I'm picking him over him. A couple offensive linemen go, quarterback, couple wide receivers go, and enough Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, and you get to 12, and 11 teams have passed because they're like, he's such an outlier. That's a risky pick. We're not going to be the ones that make it. Do you want Rueben Bain at 12?
I'm snatching him up. I'm snatching him up. Give it to me at 12. I'm snatching him up. Yes, I want Rueben Bain at 12 because the tape doesn't lie. And you know, some of the offensive linemen that you'll see in this draft, some of the offensive linemen that are in the National Football League, Rueben Bain moved mountains, okay? Against quality opponents, not against rinky-dink opponents, not against guys who we will never hear from again. He moved mountains week in and week out with his short arms. He was able to do things at that position that was very disruptive, that was very physical. That is something that the Cowboys could use. I'm not a scout, and I know that scouts have their hard and fast, you know, rules and their measurables and the things that they just stick by, and it's been passed down from grandfather scouts to grandfather scouts to grandfather scouts. It goes back 150 years, right? But our players, right? We missed out here in the Cowboys on a generational talent in TJ Watt simply because of someone who was in a position of power who said, well, in my mind, they have to have a certain this or that or this, or they're just not a defensive end for me. And he goes to Pittsburgh.
Because he didn't put his hand on the ground. Rod Marinelli didn't like him because his hand wasn't on the ground.
And so now we're looking at a guy who's going to wear a yellow jacket 5 years after he's done playing the game of football. So if the tape says that this dude can play football, if the tape says that this guy can go out here and move mountains and nothing truly restricts him, then I would run to the phone to hand in that card, or run to whoever I had to hand in that card to and say, I will take Rueben Bain at number 12 and be happy with that and set him out there on that edge and let him go to work.
You know, tape doesn't lie, but history also doesn't lie. And as you pointed out with the 4 fast guys, and how only one, huh?
I said,
you pointed out with the fast guys, only one fast guy of the top 40 has 1,000 yards running. History says guys with short arms don't star in the league. Don't play. Rueben Bain will play in the league. Okay, there's no question about that. He's going to be a player in the league. Will he be special? The Cowboys looking for something special. The hype is special. Guys with short arms have not shown to be special. Okay, and so that's the question you have to worry about when you're picking that high. Is he going to be a difference maker? Yeah, he'll play in the league a long time. You know, and I think the conversation is different. You know, we bring up TJ Watt. It wasn't about a size thing. It wasn't about, it was a scheme thing. And the Cowboys played 4-3, and Rod Marinelli he's a 3-4 outside linebacker. And even though the league was changed, that's why we love the young coaches, because they changed their ideas and their mind with the league and the flow of the league. Even though you play nickel most of the time, he's going to be rushing the passer. You're not asking him to do some things you want traditional size defensive ends to do, which is what Rod was stuck on. You know, I run a 4-3. He doesn't play 4-3 in my defense, and he's not going to be outside linebacker in our defense. he doesn't fit what we do, and he can't see the future that we in nickel 30%, more 70% of the time. We will rush to the quarterback. He gets to the quarterback. He does that better than Taco Charlton drafted guy. I think that's a different conversation than we're talking about short arms. When historically guys with short arms, you look at all the guys who made all pros and been difference makers, they haven't had short arms. And so that's what you're asking guys to go against, not the tape, but the history.
Yeah, and I think, and you're drawing the balance between, okay, well, let's say it's not him, and you go down your list to like your next best pass rusher in this draft. You might get to Cassius Howell at Texas A&M, and then you go, oh, his arms are even shorter. His arms.
That's why you don't want to. That's why you don't go to the grocery store hungry. Cowboys are going to draft hungry at certain positions.
Yeah. Well, Cassius Howell will have the shortest arms of an edge player to ever be drafted, not top 100, to ever be drafted. Right. And so this is a trust the tape year. Otherwise, if you're a team taking a pass rusher, you're going to drop down to a guy. You're going to say, I think Rueben Bain on tape is my third best player in the class. I think Cassius Howell is my 19th best player. And they're going to be like, yeah, but those measurables don't work. How about Zion Young at Missouri, who to me is probably the 40th to 50th best player? Long arms and can hold the edge, baby. And it's like, how do you balance this? And it's the weirdest year of trying to balance it. And it's also the thing that gives me some hope, that you might have a shot at Caleb Downs, because Caleb Downs, awesome tape. He ain't Ed Reed. Those arms, his wingspan, his size is very middle of the road or shorter if you're talking about how sort of long he is, which is useful in defending the pass. It's useful in tackling, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he plays a position that some don't consider premium. We do now. The Cowboys are going to consider what he does to be a premium position because they're going to put him in the slot, and they're going to have him defending the run, defending the pass. They're going to have him blitzing. They're going to have him blowing up RPOs and screens. They would have him in a premium position. And so I just wonder, and I think it's the Cowboys' dream scenario, that somebody without the perfect measurables in Bain or without the perfect measurables and playing a non-premium position to some in Caleb Downs, that's my dream for what happens with the Dallas Cowboys, is that the NFL lets one of those two players who have top 5 tape get to you because of position or T-Rex. Because T-Rex has got tiny arms. There's some science out there, by the way, that says that T-Rexes also didn't roar. They made a sound that was more like a bird. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
You don't want a bird.
That's how I'm no bird. I just take shots.
Bird at defensive end. Come on, Jesse. You want a bird? No, as a defensive end.
Doesn't Max Crosby call himself the eagle or the crane?
Whatever he calls himself, I'm in on whatever that bird.
Now you want a bird. Now you want a bird. You just said now you agree.
We want a proven all-pro bird. That's two different conversations. Max Crosby on a whole different level than Rueben Bain. Now, come on. You hope Rueben Bain can come close to Max Crosby.
Yeah, and that's what I think we're looking at this year. I think you're looking at a draft that's not about stars. It's not about stars. It's about solid.
But that's
players.
The problem when you draft high. You're expecting a bad mofo, and you're not getting a bad mofo. It's going then the fans. Everybody's gonna be down on you.
And I think that's what's going to happen. Like, let's say it's Masoor Delane, LSU corner. He's my top cornerback in this class. I like him. I think he's a good player. Even at, I don't think you're talking about an all-pro. I think you're talking about a solid NFL corner that can play as a rookie and not get you killed. And I think that he can be a good pro. I just think that's the year. And maybe I guess that's my job to set people up for that. Whoever they pick at 12, if your picture of him is you were picked in the top 12, you need to be Micah Parsons. He was picked 12. CeeDee Lamb was picked 17. I just think our expectations are off because it doesn't look like that sort of class.
And D. Ware was picked, what, 11, 10?
Something like that. And he would have been hard to predict that he was going to be a Hall of Famer just because you're talking about basing it off of the tape at Troy, where you're going, that dude's a badass. That dude looks really good. But the Troy guy, We're watching him beat us three, trying to block him. Well, Jesse played at North Carolina. That's big school. Talking about me and Clarence. Well, you went to Texas, but you weren't playing. So I guess that one works.
Not on the field.
Yeah. What's that?
Not on the field.
No, not on the field. But you were down there blocking, running.
I was playing. I just wasn't on the field.
Fair.
You right. He was down there blocking, blocking.
Oh, coming up next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast, let's take our first look at free agency, which is right around the corner. Some of the guys that the Cowboys are being tied to and rumor-rooskies. Who are we interested in? All those things are next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast. Let's get you signed up for that supporters club. We love our supporters club homies. My current chat doesn't show who it is because I got sick. And so the program that we're using, I can't see who all in here is in the supporters club, but I know that a bunch of you are. And we appreciate those guys. We just put out a video, a little behind the scenes of Jeff and Jesse on the couch from Indy, because our supporters club people, you do get some exclusive stuff from one of the shows each month. We put something together for you guys. And when you're part of the supporters club, you also get some hookups. You get some emojis that you can use in the chat. That's fun. You get a badge next to your name, which helps you stand out in the chat, makes you feels like we know you guys by this point. All the people who are part of the supporters club, you guys are family to us, and we appreciate you guys. And you get that hookup.
J. Phil, who else? Armand.
Yeah,
we got a couple guys. That's our crew. That's our crew.
Is there anybody who's in the chat a lot that's not part of that we should shame into becoming a part of the supporters club?
Big Rick.
Oh, he's not part of the supporters club, huh?
No. No.
That's tough.
Come on, Jeremy.
That's tough, Jeremy. That's tough. Sign up to be a diehard as well. You know, you get to hook up when you sign up to be a diehard. You get to pick you out a free t-shirt from our merch store. You get access to Fran Duffy's draft guide and all of his different scouting reports. You get to join our Discord. You get access to all the premium content on the website. It's a great value if you're a sports fan. If you're a DFW sports fan, then you need to be signed up to be a diehard. You need to be part of the supporters club. And then we'll come up with something else that you need to be a part of. We haven't yet, but we will. We want you to be a part of everything. We want you to hang out with us and have a good time and build a community of fellow DFW sports fans. So sign up today to be a diehard, or else not a threat. Yeah, Jeremy said, shame me. I'm a diehard, though. We'll take it.
We'll take it.
We do appreciate you. You need to know that. You are appreciated, okay? All right, so we're getting ready to rock and roll with free agency. Nakobe Dean, former Philadelphia Eagle. Clarence had this first, and then a lot of people are trying to credit Jeremy Fowler weeks later for being on Nakobe Dean as a potential Dallas Cowboy. Denver safety P.J. Locke, Arizona safety Jalen Thompson. Cowboys expect to kick the tires on Max Crosby. All these different rumor-rooskies. How they make you guys feel? First of all, Clarence, congratulations on the Nakobe Dean thing. You were on that thing 2 weeks ago, and it's become a big story like the last couple of days.
You know, it's just connecting the dots, and certainly every time a defensive coordinator is brought in there, they bring somebody in here that knows their defense, right? Whether it was Zimmer, whether it was, Jesse's guy last year from Chicago. It's your guy.
That's
the
not my guy.
linebacker was your guy.
Sanborn's not my guy. Oh, so now you don't want to take a little bit of sarcasm with you, and the sarcasm master. You can't take a little sarcasm. You know what? I'll take it. Sanborn was my guy.
Yeah, did he not talk about the face? He racially profiled the linebacker all offseason.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
What?
Did he not racially profile the linebacker?
I was trying to close the racial divide and give support to our white brethren, but yeah, I'll take it. Jack Sanborn, my guy.
I had a little hope for Jack. I had a little hope for Jack myself.
There was a lot of it was funny, and it better be funny.
It better be.
There was a lot of hope for Logan Wilson. And then he showed up.
From who?
Then he showed up.
Who had hope in Logan Wilson.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about within the Cowboys.
You had hope in Logan Wilson?
I had a little bit, but only not because of Logan Wilson. I had a little bit because of the other guy that was playing. And I was like, sure.
Then we kept wondering, why can't he get on the field? Then y'all drafted the player. The Cowboys watched him practice. Oh boy. They watched him practice.
You got benched on the worst defense in the league other than the Cowboys. What made you think?
Then they watched him practice. Then they're like, oh boy, we can't put this dude on the field. Oh boy, they thought he was hurt. They're like, what is wrong with you? You can't run. He cannot run. So that's why running is important. Listen, I want you to be smart. I want you to be able to get to the right holes, but I need to be able to get there. He can't get there. He couldn't get there.
No, you gotta be able to run enough. You gotta be able to run enough. And Nakobe Dean can run enough. Nakobe Dean can run. Nakobe Dean can hit. Nakobe Dean's been a little bit of up and down as a player, and he's been a hurt guy. And so I wonder how they'll balance that when they're talking about, I guess it doesn't qualify as like, that has nothing to do with what Jerry was talking about, how we're not going to do a red shirt thing. Like they're done.
Yeah, he was talking about second round. He was talking about in the draft. He was talking about red shirt because they have a history of, getting guys on their future. Always a first round talent. Phil just got to get through this injury and we'll see how it goes. And they have a history of that. He said, we can't do that. We need all our rookies to come in and play. They have to come in and play. And so that's what he's focused on. So that's what he's talking about, no red shirts. But yeah, Nakobe Dean is a guy because he knows the defense, he can stay healthy. He's this undersized linebacker, but he's perfect for what they're trying to do. And that's what you have to check these boxes. That doesn't mean that they won't go after a linebacker in the draft, interior linebacker in the draft or off the ball linebacker in the draft, but you need some guys to come in that can play, that can help you immediately. And some of the other guys, PJ Locke, Texas guy, he had a big interception in the playoffs. But you know who his agent is?
No. Mulugheta.
He's inevitable. Mulugheta's inevitable, okay? You're not going to run. You're going to have to come see Mulugheta, okay? You work in this league, okay? You looking for players in this league. You got to come see me.
Yeah.
You're going to have to kiss the ring. You're going to have to bend the knee at some point to Mulugheta. And it's happening. Draft Michael Parsons, Pickens, PJ Locke. You got to come see me.
Can we just call our shot now? Can we kind of go great, the great Hambino, and just call our shot about, Nakobe Dean's gonna be a Cowboy, right?
I believe
let's just call our shot. I don't know what number he's gonna wear because 17 won't be available. Maybe it will. Maybe 17 may be available, but he'll have to change his number if he get a contract right.
He's getting ready to kick
it. Maybe. He may be. I don't know. Man, I mean, if the price
is right. Let's talk about the kicker. They're going to sign the kicker.
They're going to sign the kicker. They're going to sign the kicker.
But no, Nakobe Dean's going to be a Cowboy. Like, it's just,